Hey folks, we're back with another episode of course, Friday Night Smackdown. A bit late per se, there's a bit of build with Nakamura obviously trying to chase over the Universal Championship. Whatever Daniel Bryan's doing to build that he's going to be in the Rumble. It just was a lackluster show in the last couple shows because Bailey somehow gets a talk show. Jey Uso jobs again. There's not that much building over in the mid card except a bit of a recap with the SmackDown tag team belts being changed with the Street Profits. I think there's technically like what 2 to 3 tag teams on SmackDown because of the lack of depth in any sort of mid card, lower card. It's a complete mess. We even opened up over Jey Uso coming over, bringing up that Roman Reigns is going to still be Universal Champion. He's gonna win the Rumble and win the WWE Championship from Raw, and that the family will be on top. Basic little heel promo. Nakamura just came out of nowhere, just to have a one-on-one match with him, and he just comes back with the cape garb BS, seizure-inducing BS. It's just, this is why that Nakamura is not a main eventer. No disrespect over from his skill-wise, just really not necessary. He's like a taller Tajiri. He just does less interesting kicks, and he doesn't look like a badass. Like Tajiri, he just the red mist. You can use him for comedic segments. People know who Tajiri is, and he just ends up looking like a badass, but you can laugh at most of the stuff he does with like freaking William Regal and stuff like that. That's what I remember Tajiri for. And Vince utilized him for what he can do. Nakamura, we're technically supposed to take him seriously because he has one relevant match with his Styles, and he's won a belt that lasted under a decade of prestige that he primarily won. I don't care. So what happened? Nakamura beats Jey Uso over counters, enziguris. The only cool spot that Nakamura has done is a slingshot below the apron German suplex. That always looks cool. Then after a reversal, it went into a Kinshasa after Cesaro came up to the corner and tried to help out. So Nakamura picks up the victory. Not much after that. Cesaro was on commentary for an awkward bit, technically trying to hype up his tag team partner, but also bring some respect to Jey Uso. They didn't even get into a level of build either way. What's going to happen with Cesaro and Nakamura come the Rumble, because drama doesn't work other than, hey, I'm going to announce myself in the Royal Rumble match. So afterwards, Cesaro would come later in a segment involving Otis, Gable, and Daniel Bryan, getting made fun of for their workouts where they're just pelvic thrusting. There's no fun induced because the fans can't connect with it, and Daniel Bryan isn't really that funny. And it just ends up with him mocking him and getting a match later on in the show. There would later on be the Ding Dong segment garbage. We have Liv Morgan against Natalya one-on-one with technically Billie Kay being part of the Riot Squad, awkwardly inducing over the matchup. Going back and forth, just joltingly screaming whenever Ruby Riott trying to get the upper hand, and then it ends up with an argument with Tamina, like, what side are you on? Then it ends up with a surprise roll-up attempt over Natalya for the victory over Ruby Riott. With looks like Billie Kay was trying to recoup. She just looked awkwardly into place, trying to be annoying but funny at the same time, and it obviously doesn't work, even though it looks like she has the look of a manager. And that's technically it. Like, the women's division is so lackluster, and they can see why I want to end the brand split. Yet people say, "Oh, but we need to get the brand split to get these guys over," but they'll complain that they're buried anyway, and you guys will get upset. I agree with I think it's Destructor. Shout out to him, brilliant content. The guy had a good opinion over the overuse of the word burial, and I think many fans, especially the hardcore ones, overused that sentiment a long time. I like the word sinking a bit more than burial, for the inconsistencies over like a wrestler's direction over like with what their creative ideas are put in place, who they lose to. Like that's sinking. That's not burial. Next up was the disrespect of King Corbin assaulting Dominic after a match during the Gauntlet match against Rey Mysterio and Nakamura. So it would be Rey Mysterio versus Dominic. No, King Corbin 1-on-1. We're just getting bland one-on-one matches, bro. Just bland one-on-one matches. Counters over in the deep six. King Corbin, I want to do a roast video on that. Cancerous right now, bro. He just can't. He has no semblance of heat. And people like they even bring over like a demand. What's like take off my TV heat, go home heat, or like basic heat where I'm supposed to actually hate this guy. But I find him good enough to be like a good, reasonable bad guy. Like Ric Flair, he gets heat. He can get pop. Triple H can get heat, but sometimes he can get pop. Corbin is like, he's like the equivalent of Test if you're trying to make him a top guy. The size, but unlike Test actually looks like he can hold his own against a guy like Triple H, Steve Austin, Brock Lesnar. But Corbin just looks like he'll just last like at least a minute and a half with Brock Lesnar. He sucks. He has no look. He has no definitive look. His gimmick sucks, lasting over nearly 2 years. King Booker, at least it lasted as long as he still had his contract in the company. Like, he sucks. Corbin sucks. He has no charisma. He looks like he's probably going to touch a young lady underage in like a few months, and he just looks super awkward whenever he's over with a microphone. He just has no it factor into him at all, and I'm just sick and tired of just but he doesn't do athletic stuff. He doesn't have to do athletic stuff. If he's just freaking bland, you have no charisma, you have no sentiment to keep you on television, yet they keep overly booking you just to lose with no creative standpoint, but he'll win sometimes. There's no reason for him to be on television. If I was having him on Universe mode, that I still play Universe mode, he would be just immediately fired. Or just put him out the game. So, reversals over in the Deep Six. There was constant bantering over with Dominic and Corbin over calling him a mascot, trying to insult him even though he's working on his father. So why not insult the father so Dominic can get riled up? C, also crap heel. Although there's interactions over with Dominic, a 6-1 on each other counter over in the face. It ends with the end of days off a springboard. The match was bland, low cut and dry. And usually whenever you see a heavyweight and a cruiserweight wrestle, usually it's a contrast of styles, even though you know the bigger dude has the upper hand. But it's sometimes the fun of it whenever you see like a smaller dude face off against a big dude. This was bland. We also had the Ding Dong segment, but before we even go over that, we had consistent segments over with Sonya Deville. Nice to see her back, but I want to see what creatively they have planned for her. I don't just want her waltzing around unless they're going to give her creative authority. And if they do, I don't know if they're going to make that all around SmackDown or just primarily on the women's division. Even though they don't have much to work with, so it better be like all around the roster. So, they also have Sean Spears still, Adam Pearce talking with Paul Heyman over the situation of over signing the contract, trying to make it a no DQ match at the Royal Rumble, and Roman Reigns just later on changed it into a last man standing match at the Royal Rumble, and they bring up no hype factor into this over the mystique of a guy that barely has wrestled for nearly a decade. No overgoing history other than indie events, and oh wait, wasn't he in Gut Check for TNA back in 2012? Oh my god, dude, I don't care about Adam Pearce. I just want to see at least some hype factor into who is gonna take him out, who's gonna take his place. He's obviously not fit over to wrestle, and there's a couple more guys that are probably winning a spot like Daniel Bryan that wants a bone to pick with him. Kevin Owens, Shinsuke Nakamura, and we need build. No build at all. So they just okay. Spoiler alert: it's Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens, because he's friends with him, and I guess they and screwing him over at that steel cage match against Roman a couple weeks prior. That's about it. No build. No nothing. Next up, we had a ding dong segment with Bianca Belair, with of course Bayley, because of course she's chipper. She has a catchphrase that nobody ever chants. She's not heelish. She's not over, and of course I want to kill her. I'm sorry. I don't like being aggressive like this. She just looks like that. She looks like the female monkey from Space Chimps. She looks like if Planet Sheen turned dyke. She looks like the current look of No Way Jose. She just sucks. She has no even likability factor to even have any charm as a heel, and yet they give her own talk show to just have these bland, forgettable talk shows. You just give the blandest guys talk shows, like the same thing with the Miss TV. Who's there to fill on? Like the guest usually is supposed to make stuff impactful. Like Piper with the coconut, Jericho with the Jericho 9000 on Shawn Michaels back in 08. The Cutting Edge, the Peep Show with I guess Rollins about to trying to kill Edge's life, and of course, yeah, just I can't take whatever these people just get random shows, and they're not even that over charismatic or show no other personality other than, oh, they're part of the Four Horsewomen. That means I'm supposed to take them as seriously as they are, even though the Four Horsemen is just Four Horsewomen is just a name from chicks in the developmental branch of the company. So afterwards, she had a consistent gab with, of course, the G-U-E-S-T, Bianca Belair. And of course, they go over like her. They had a plaque of like how long she held the SmackDown Women's Championship. Like, Jesus Christ, son, I don't find like that prestigious, even though that should be a huge accomplishment. Yet your televised ratings were on constant lows. So I don't really care that you held the women's title for that long. Imagine if they unify the belts. Imagine how that's gonna feel then. And that's probably gonna last for like, I don't know, 3 years until they figure out, hey, this ain't getting people over, pal. Yeah, Keith broke his back. Oh, it's just bad. Didn't end up in either of a brawl or a fight, just or no other constant bantering or anything interesting to at least further narrative around, other than this is the only creative way we can have these women try to talk to each other, other than just an interview. Or at least hype up over some matches or events or something. But then there was a trial. They're going to do some kind of obstacle course challenge next week on SmackDown to at least, show how, better Bianca Belair is. I don't really care about Bayley. Next up, we have, of course, Daniel Bryan versus Cesaro. That was a pretty decent match. Average technical wrestling. I'll give it that this is the best match over in the show. Nice reversals over with the yes lock. Cool counter over to the European uppercut. It somehow was a reversal over to Neutralizer that I rarely see ever get the win now, because Nakamura and Cesaro now lose a lot. So good to see Cesaro pick up over a win. So the reason for this was just trash talking over his workouts, over winning the Rumble, even though Cesaro has the lowest, not much of a chip over his shoulder because, he won the Andre Memorial Battle Royal, like, in 2014, even though Daniel Bryan's, like, what, a four-time world champion and was in the ring with Brock Lesnar? The loss technically just shuts down a bit of the momentum for Daniel Bryan. Cesaro looking decently and strong and intimidating and a badass. I just wish they made that more potent. So we also had technically a number of contenders match for the Intercontinental title that looks like the current Ring of Honor Championship. If they just spat gold with no interesting detailing, put a stupid ring in there, and just made it look less prestigious. I didn't mind the white strap belt. Hell, you could even just revamp the oval-shaped Intercontinental title. At least they look cool. I mean, at least they look like, okay, this is technically like the second looking important belt. It looks important. Let's not try to make it change. It looks ugly. U.S. title, at least it looks like a U.S. title. It just looks like a 99-cent store version of the WCW U.S. title. So, what happened? Apollo Crews faced off against Sami Zayn, and they keep going over, of course, conspiracy theorists. That's Sami Zayn. Counters over turnbuckle spots. Standing moonsault. He's doing more power moves than moonsault, thank God. There was also Apollo Crews even been in earlier segments with Roman Reigns over Paul Heyman giving out the contract over the match stipulation change, telling Roman Reigns to learn from us, my chocolate Samoan. Wait, what? No, I mean my son. What the hell? That's how. Oh God. So. Of course, that's not going to be edited because I'm lazy. I'm just saying I know damn well Roman Reigns pats the head out of fucking Apollo Crews' head. So, yeah. Exploder suplex after exploder suplex. Counters over with clotheslines. There was I think some kind of axe handle outside the ring. It ends with Apollo doing his powerbomb for the victory. Then engaging with Big E in a talk, so he gets a title shot probably next week on Smackdown. Or the Rumble. Better be decent build, because of course people are hyping it over Paul Heyman giving out a talk, and of course he was back on Talking Smack, and then he's in a segment earlier on the show with Roman Reigns, so they may affiliate that Apollo Crews is going to be part of the faction with Roman Reigns, with Jey Uso and possibly Jimmy Uso. Don't know how that's possibly going to work. Even though they've been trying to tease over a heel turn with Apollo over the last few weeks, so I guess this is a different momentum change than them losing to the Hurt Business every week. So, yeah, that's technically it. 2 average matches to at least end over the night. For the rest of the opening of the show looks pretty freaking boring. And the ending of the ending segment being Adam Pearce and, of course, Roman Reigns' contract signing over Roman Reigns just cautiously forcing Pierce to, like, give him his chair so he can sit in the, head of the table. So, it ends with, of course, after Roman Reigns signed over the contract, Adam Pearce quick-wittedly gave it to Kevin Owens, because, of course, Kevin Owens hasn't been seen on SmackDown. Was it because of injury? No. Was it because of suspension? No. So why was he out of TV for the last few weeks to bring over the hype, even though he's lost to him, twice? For title matches and different stipulations? Come on. I don't care. I don't want to see another match. I don't care if it's going to be decent enough. And I'm not saying that they haven't had a good match. It's just I don't want to see Kevin Owens consistently feuding with frickin' Roman Reigns. Let it be Nakamura. He literally pinned several dudes in the gauntlet match just the last week. Kevin Owens wasn't even in the gauntlet. No intertwining main eventers that could at least feud with him. How are they gonna do this over a calendar year if you're gonna stick with this stupid brand split? Nobody's even thinking about the future of what the hell they're gonna book. If they do Owens against Roman Reigns, I'm probably gonna cut myself. There's no way. It's such a unfulfilling ending over, of course, Adam Pearce. Nobody's going to actually believe that, so who would be the surprise opponent for Roman Reigns? And usually they do the contract signing for the go-home show of the pay-per-view, or at least something more twisted. It's just felt a bit underwhelming over the last couple weeks, where Roman Reigns is looking always one step ahead, or at least always above Kevin Owens over the last couple weeks, so it just feels lackluster. We know Kevin's probably going to lose, but he's going to fight. Stun, Owens, stun. Kills, and kill. Like, I don't care. I give it a I'm giving it a 4. There was like 2 good matches. Lackluster over that talk show with frickin' with Bailey. I don't care about Carmella's ongoing promo over like Sasha Banks making it over a magazine cover. She's not even that attractive. It just felt like they should do more, but this brand split's limiting it over their fluctuant mid card and their really lackluster main event scene. Like, who's gonna face off against Roman Reigns? Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, Nakamura, Cesaro. These are like guys that you probably would ask, oh, did they win the Undisputed Memorial Battle Royal and then did nothing else for the rest of the year? Well, that's Nakamura winning the Royal Rumble, and they keep flexing that out like he did something important. He's like a U.S. and Intercontinental Champion, and he's still not relevant. Like, get him out of there. And I have nothing against Nakamura. He's probably a nice person, but if he's got to do something to make himself, feel like he's doing something important, I would say get the hell out of WWE at this point, because it's not working out for the fans, not working out for the viewership. Obviously, Vince can't book you over anything else unless you actually speak English and have a competent gimmick other than doing. I know you can't see my hands, but I'm shaking them because I have a seizure, and that's about it. Kevin Owens can't carry a card over the main event scene with a star like Roman Reigns, especially when we're known for his storyline with Sami Zayn over developmental grudges. Stop. And I don't really care about King Corbin, the constant Mysterio feud. They're probably going to have him against Murphy in some kind of stupid match. I don't really care. Or imagine they just bring back Chavo Guerrero, and he probably looks worse than he did the last time he was in WWE. But that's all I got for tonight. Hopefully, SmackDown gets better in the go-home show. All I just wanted something. If you guys heard the news, we'll be still in Florida for WrestleMania. We will be in Hollywood probably next year or something. We'll be back in AT&T, and we have the crappy logos to boot. Every logo looks crappy. It doesn't look authentic. It just looks WrestleMania. What happened to the freaking Roman numerals? That doesn't make it look authentic. It just looks like something you would see on the kids' website for WWE. This is WrestleMania in Dallas. This is WrestleMania in Las Vegas. Stop. So that's all I got for tonight for the review. Hopefully you guys enjoyed me just bombing the show. If you guys think differently over SmackDown, hopefully we can get an understanding over in the comment section below. That's all I got for you today. And possibly go check over the DST network. I only have one video on the Hardens trade. I'll probably go over his first performance as a Brooklyn Net later on the channel, and then go over the divisional round for the NFL playoffs. That's all I got.